All right. I guess it's kind of interesting because the switcheroony, the swap out of Joe Biden was right at the end of the election cycle. So it wasn't like the plague, like the Chinese plague had time to develop and cause chaos, and the summer of 2020 with the George Floyd riots and George Soros funded mayhem by the left, by the extreme left. So they had time to create turmoil. I mean, you had plenty of time to divide and conquer. The Democrat Party did by race and by the phantom plague that seemingly came out of nowhere, November 19th, mysteriously from Wuhan, China. Yeah. I guess Americans first thought it was an accident, which is kind of highly unlikely that the Chinese plague was an accident. Okay. But it's pretty suspicious if a plague comes 6 months to a year out before a major presidential re-election or a major presidential election period. So, I know. It brings people it brings people comfort, rather, that our government is not evil. Okay, that governments are not evil, and they don't do evil deeds. Okay, but that's just not the reality of government. That's not the reality of a global cabal. That's not the reality of George Soros. That's not the reality of the military-industrial, pharmaceutical, technological, media state complex. That's not. As Dwight D. Eisenhower said about this complex, about this cabal, is that they're global in scope, atheistic in character, insidious in method. That means evil in method, right? So I know a lot of Americans would rather say, no, that's not true. They wouldn't kill Americans just to get an election outcome or a war out or a political outcome. Sure, they would kill people. Yeah, of course. And they would kill people across the world to do that, to get their candidate, to get their puppet in. They would do whatever it takes. But most Americans go to sleep better at night thinking, oh, our government's good. Our American citizens look out for American citizens. It just makes people go to sleep better at night. Just taking that blue pill makes people feel better. For obvious reasons. Like, so if you're a child and your mom and dad go to work every day, and they're out there making a living, you wanna think that, my dad's a businessman and my mom's a clerk or something. Now you never want to believe that your dad was embezzling money or your mom was doing some illegal, or somebody in your family was doing illegal behavior, because you want to take the blue pill. Everybody wants to take that blue pill. They don't want to take the red pill because the red pill is bitter and it's harsh and it's truth and it's rough to take, because the truth is often, a lot more awful than we want to. So it's like the father saying, my son's not gay. He's not gay. And then he walks in, and then he's got lipstick on, and he's got, his wiener tucked between his legs, and he's got a bra on and shit. He's like, my son's not gay. I can't believe this. And so, just like the system thrives off things that people can't believe or refuse to accept. And one of the things that people born in America find hard to accept is that the elites and this global cabal, the military-industrial complex, does not give a shit about the American citizen or the American people. And so that's, one of the hardest red pills to swallow. Once you get past that, then you can see clearly what's going on in this country and around the world. And you can see it without a rose-colored glasses. You can see it for what it is. You can see the truth. Or the best estimation of that truth. I mean, who really knows what happens in those shadowy government halls, those shadowy world in that George Soros, Bill Gates, Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Clinton, who knows what goes on those Barack Hussein Obama special global cabal meetings that they do with Dr. Evil and shit. I mean, who knows what really goes on in there, because we're not part of it. We suffer the effects from this cabal in the Democrat Party. And we suffer the effects of their actions or inactions. But we're not in on the club. We're not on the inside, so we don't really know what's going on the inside of it. But that being said, I'm not Alex Jones. We're just talking about political strategy. And so we'll stop talking about the global cabal and the military-industrial complex for the time being. Da, 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 da. I think in terms of the Democrat strategy, they have very little time. They don't have a year with the plague. They don't have November 2019 is when COVID-19 happened in the last election cycle. They don't have a year to build their case against Donald Trump. So the Democrat Party this time doesn't have time. They only have 4 months to do whatever it is they're going to do. So they're not going to release a plague. All right. Maybe they're going to try to stir up racial tensions. The Sonia Massey, that unstable cop and all that. I don't know. I haven't seen any Sonia Massey. You've seen like demonstrations, but you haven't seen riots like George Floyd. Not on that level. Not Soros funded, where he goes into the left cities and into the black communities and gives them pallets of bricks and weapons and shit like that, and Molotov cocktails and all that. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not that the Democrat Party isn't trying to stir up racial divisions in this country. They've been doing that since Barack Hussein Obama took power in 2008. Because Barack Hussein Obama hates white people. So, even though his mother was one. Dun, dun. All right. So the Democrat strategy is to stir up racial and ethnic division and polarize male and female. It's the old divide and conquer strategy. Yeah. The media after Joe Biden dropped out have gone full blast into Kamala Harris is the second coming of Jesus, trying to pull Obama. So the strategy is to try to do a Obama part two. Or, well, I guess if you look at Joe Biden as the third term of Barack Hussein Obama, then you would look at Kamala Harris as the fourth term of Barack Hussein Obama, because that's who's really running the country, or at least one of the men who's really running our country since 2008, except for that little slip up in 2016, right? That little anomaly in 2016. Well, it's not really an anomaly, but it is. It's to George Soros and Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg, it is an anomaly. But to American people, it's like, hey, that's who we wanted to be our president. Yeah, somebody who's going to shake up the establishment, somebody who's going to change the system to work better for us, to work better for the American people. And so, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put up the dishes. Yeah. All right. Got a little. So the Democrat strategy is to make Kamala Harris into the second coming of Christ, which she's not Christ, and she's not Obama, and she's not. She has many weaknesses. She's stupid. That's a horrible one. Secondly, she has no public speaking skills to speak of. Her voice is annoying. Her voice is very, very annoying. It would be hard. It would be difficult for American citizens to listen to her voice for more than 4 months, let alone 4 years. It sounds like a second grade teacher smoked too much pot. And they were just happen, that's what she sounds like. Sounds like a second grade teacher who's 60 years old that's high off her ass all the time. And I can't see how that's going to play very well. Hillary Clinton was a better public speaker than Kamala Harris, and she lost. So the main platforms they're going to push, they're going to try to disguise abortion as some sort of freedom, like the freedom to kill babies is somehow the right to kill babies is somehow a freedom, which it's not. So they disguise things that are despicable as freedoms. It's like, you have the right to terminate your baby. Well, yes, the Republican position on abortion is that you have the right to abort your baby if it's rape, incest, or a medical danger to the mother, and that's it. Those are the only exceptions. But abortion is legal in those particular exceptions. Rape, incest. Okay, so the Venezuelan goes up behind you and grabs you in the park and sticks his wiener in your vagina and knocks you up. Okay, then you have the right to abort that Venezuelan illegal alien that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden let in with their porous border. What is it, 10 to 12 million illegal aliens they let in during their tenure, their term? So, Joe Biden has gone back to his basement strategy. His brain can no longer function, so he just whittles out. He's trying to whittle out more and more because it's the last 6 months of his presidency. But, okay. Joe Biden last night at the release of the prisoner swap of the Russian detainees by Vladimir Putin and the Russian Federation at Andrews Joint Air Force Base. He told a reporter, "You're stuck with me. I'm the president. You're stuck with me. You're stuck with me the next 4 to 6 months, kid." He said, like, "Hey, kid." He did a Humphrey Bogart. "Here's looking at you, kid." So he had another flashback to the 1940s again. So, which is Joe Biden par for the course. He should have said, "Here's looking at you, kid. You're stuck with me, bub. Come on, man. You got 5 more months of Joe Biden. I ain't going anywhere, kid." I'm going to be sniffing little girls' hair for the next 6 months. Do you got any little daughters around? You got any little kids around? I can't wait to touch them. That's one of my favorite things, touching those little, sweet little angels you got. Got any more for me? I like those little sweet creatures. Joe Biden grabs a little girl. "There ain't no dating until you're 30, all right?" "If you ain't with Joe, it's a no-go. My little girl. My sweet little angel." Oh. Dun, 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 dun. Joe Biden is the reason why they invented Grimm's fairy tales, to warn little kids about older creepy people. Hansel and Gretel. Like Dr. Jordan Peterson, there's a reason why they have those fairy tales, because they kind of warn people about real life. And so a lot of the fairy tales are to warn little kids about chomos, child molesters, and predators out there. So and Hansel and Gretel, the older couple invites the boy and the girl, brother and sister, the little boy and the little girl, to offer him some cookies or some treats like a child predator would do. And then, but really, they're the main course. Really, they're cannibals, and they're going to eat the little kids. And so Hansel and Gretel have to escape from this horror. When you were a little kid, did you ever trust the old lady with cookies? It was like the little kids would know, if there was an old grandma with some cookies, and they'd be like, "Oh my God, Mrs. Beth's got chocolate chip cookies," and all the kids would go, but they wouldn't question like, "Oh shit, am I in trouble? Am I in danger?" No, because kids are just like, "I want chocolate chip cookies." Okay, so what the strategy Joe Biden is going for in his legacy period is that he's a trustworthy grandpa, that he's a well-to-do grandpa, and he's a loving father and husband and great grandfather, and he's just a patriarchal super figure, a hero of America. That's what he's going for. So that's part of the Democrat exit strategy for Joe Biden, is that he's a grandpa. He's he has congeniality. My God, man, he's a winner. Okay, he's a patriarch. He's a patriot. He is a hero, and they want to give him Hussein Obama and Bill Gates and Zucker they want to give him a top-class send-off for being a great puppet of the system. So Bill and Hillary Clinton, Barack Hussein Obama, they want to give him a wonderful hero's exit. What a defender of democracy, and what an amazing guy who hunts down his political adversaries and opponents for 4 years. Wow. It was incredible to prosecute his political opponent for 4 years with 4 indictments. Wow. It was so amazing of the Biden-Harris regime to persecute their political adversary, their main political opponent, Donald John Trump, and with their weaponizing their corrupt Merrick Garland Department of Justice. It was such an amazing, what a hero of America. What an amazing hero he is. Wow. Barack Hussein Obama and Joseph Robinette Biden, they did so much good for American citizens. They lifted up everyone's economic station. They were better off now than they were 4 years ago. Of course, I'm being facetious. For those of you who didn't know, facetiousness, sarcasm. Dum. Yeah, let's do a little spray down. So on the first day of the Democrat National Convention, I think it's August 19th, through the 22nd, the first speaker will be Joe Biden. And I think they'll have a lot of pre-programmed, pre-done movies. Can Joe Biden give a speech at almost 82 years old? Can he actually give a speech for that long? Like even 30 minutes? I don't know. They could cut movies of him and then just let him speak for just 10 minutes and hope he gets through it. They could drug him up. They could spray paint his face. They probably have an elaborate thing to make him seem vital or young or passable or functional. So they're gonna, cook something up. But when Joe Biden had 10 days to prepare for a debate with Donald Trump at Camp David, he failed miserably. So he had 2 weeks to prepare, and he still fucked up. So I don't know how long he plans to prepare. Maybe the Democrat Party, they're going to create a video, like a puff piece, how wonderful he is, and then they'll let him speak maybe 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. He might be allowed to speak longer than that. I'm not sure. I suppose it depends on his level of functioning. So if he's functioning well, then they might let him speak longer. If he's low functioning, then they're going to cut the cord and they're going to do more CGI, AI. It'll be more like a virtual president. It'll be like the Max Headroom president, if you know who that is. And so for those that don't know and didn't grow up in the 1980s, they had a virtual character called Max Headroom. and he would go, "Nah," and he would have glitches, and it was like this digital character. And so when I call Joe Biden the first Max Headroom president, that's what I mean. It's our first like puppet virtual president that I know of. At least they don't go full into CGI, AGI, AI to create this virtual puppet president, but they're trying all the tools that they can to hide his dementia and lack of function. So that's why I call him the Max Headroom, the first puppet president. Yeah, the character was very popular. He might have been in Back to the Future 2, I think, right? Yeah, he like wears glasses and he has like a snazzy suit, and they have all these lines, and he's like, nah. It's like kind of a funny, kind of one of 1980s very unique and interesting cultural oddities was the virtual person Max Headroom. It's kind of like I kind of like Domino's Avoid the Noid. It's kind of like one of those weird marketing things of the 1980s. I like experimental marketing, so I like those strange oddities like that. Those weird flukes of history, right? Strange eccentricities. Bizarre offshoots. I was looking for another word. Bizarre off ramps. Bizarre. You're looking for a word like that, but with in reference to water. Bizarre eddies. So, I mean, the strategy by the Democrat Party is to villainize Trump. He will take away your democracy. He will destroy our freedom and all that. They might even go with that tired dictator line that, he won't ever leave office in his third term. They'll try that nonsense as well. Well, when the Democrat Party has tried villainizing Donald Trump, criminalizing Donald Trump, doing lawfare, trying to indict Donald Trump, staging FBI evidence against Donald Trump in the documents case. They've tried just about everything they can. I guess they tried a assassination attempt, I guess, too. Yeah. Did they try to kill him just recently, a few weeks back? On July 13th, 2024? I don't know. Maybe the facts of that case will eventually come out. There'll be a whistleblower or something like that. Yeah, maybe there'll be a bombshell. Hey, Biden ordered an assassination of his political rival because nothing else worked. Well, would the U.S. government try that? Or a sitting president try that to kill his... Or would the deep state kill a presidential candidate if they didn't want him to be president or he was too popular? All I have to say is that... JFK is not with us today. Robert Kennedy is not with us today. JFK Jr. is not with us today. So would the military-industrial complex kill a presidential candidate? The answer is, yeah, they would. I know. There's always the lone gunman, the disgruntled man. Maybe he's of Arabic descent. Usually, it's a white young wacko that's been radicalized by leftism and communism. He's a Manchurian candidate. Ah, I know. So. We got a Patsy. We decided to have a brunch today. Yeah. So, I mean, if you think that the government doesn't, kill political candidates, the deep state, the military-industrial complex, well, I just gave you 3 examples of people that are in the same political family that are not with us today. So, I don't know if that's evidence or not, but I'm just saying, there was the U.S. Secret Service was not, which is employed by, which is an extension of the Department of the Homeland Security, which is run by Biden appointee Alejandro Mayorkas, and under the direction of Joseph R. Biden, the federal government, the Democrat Party, well, they just somehow didn't cover a roof of a former and future presidential candidate. Yeah, that's pretty weird. That's what they call a lapse in security. They like the Democrat Party. They like accidents. Oh, whoopsie! Yeah. Oh, did I put this poison in your soup? Oops! I meant to give it to the roaches. Okay. Whoopsie! Whoop-de-doo? Oh, did I not put a security guard there? Oh, I didn't put a sniper on that roof? Oh, it must have slipped my mind. So we all know that the U.S. media is not a fair and impartial media, that they are agents of the media state propaganda complex for the Democrat Party. And so you could tell the propaganda is up at full levels at ABC, Dishonesty, Disney News, and CNN, MSNBC, CBS, NBC, Universal. So these gigantic cable or old school legacy media conglomerates are running interference for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and trying to create them into, they have to give a heroic exit to Joe Biden, and they have to, through their propaganda, make Kamala somehow the new coolest thing since sliced bread. And so that's what they have to do. They have to make Kamala cool. Yeah. My mom's, a little bit over 60 years old. Is it Kamala's about to be 60? So is it easy to make the baby boomers cool? Yeah. It's hard being cool when you're older. It's a lot easier when you're young, It's hard to, it's easy to be cool when you're 19, but try it at 59. well, it's going to be a lot more challenging. Dun, dun, dun. Now, there are people that are just going to be cool forever. They're cool until the day they die. You know, Elvis Presley, Harrison Ford, Sean Connery. These people were born fucking cool and they died cool. Marlon Brando. All right. So the Democrat Party is trying to label the Republicans conservatives. Their strategy is to label Trump supporters and Trump himself as racist. So they've been trying that one forever. It hasn't exactly landed. So Donald Trump has soaring support in the African American and the Latino community, the Hispanic community, and other ethnic communities. So they're having trouble painting this narrative. They even try to force it, like ABC Dishonesty's Rachel Scott did. You can tell what character she's playing. She's playing the angry black woman who is attacking the evil the racist Donald Trump, trying to use words to manipulate him into some sort of corner he can't get out of, accusing him of being a racist against blacks. And it didn't work out so well at the National Association of Black Journalists. It just didn't work. So they fell on their ass. They tried to spin it. So what they do is they say false claims. Donald Trump is still going with false claims about the 2020 election. Donald Trump has false claims about his previous racial statements. So Lester Holt and Rachel Scott and David Muir and all the other puppets of the system, what they do is if Trump doesn't say something that they don't like, that will get him reelected, then that won't defeat him, then they say it's false claims. So they just use their horrible fake news legacy platform to cheerlead for the Biden-Harris administration and the Democrat Party. And anything they don't like that Trump says is misinformation, disinformation, or it's false claims. Yeah. So anyways, that's their plot. The Democrat Party strategy, is it good? Is it robust? Can they paint Donald Trump as a racist? Can they say he was bad at business? One of the most successful businessmen of all time. Can they say he's a criminal when he's not in jail? He's not. Oh, I see. So Judge Merchan's sentence isn't until September or something, right? Oh, are they planning a surprise in September and October, trying to sentence him to jail or something like that? Are they going to try to imprison Trump before the election? Is that what they had planned all along? The Democrat Party with their illegal and unconstitutional Joe Biden Democrat witch hunt of Donald Trump? It was pretty. To go against Donald John Trump was very. It was very arrogant and smug of the system. How they thought they would win all the time is a ridiculous notion. I suppose they thought through their combined energies and financial and true power of the military, industrial, pharmaceutical, technological Silicon Valley and media state propaganda complex. I think they thought through their coordinated strategic efforts to get rid of Trump that they would be able to do it through their continued Trump witch hunts and illegal and unconstitutional lawfare. I think they thought through all these mechanisms they would be able to get him out of power. They would be able to stop him. But they weren't able to stop him in 2016. Maybe they made a mistake, the system. Maybe they picked somebody too popular, too iconic to American culture. Maybe they picked somebody too beloved by the American people. Perhaps they made a mistake. They picked a target that had his own money, his own financial machine already built in, already baked in the cake. You know, 2.5 to $3 billion at least, if you Wikipedia or you Google it or something. But maybe they picked a character too charismatic, a character too resilient, too tough to break. You and I can't afford our groceries, and our family's businesses are going under the Biden-Harris administration, and they want to send all your taxpayer money to fund the war in Ukraine against Russia and Vladimir Putin. So they want to take all your millions and billions of tax or billions of taxpayer money, probably $1 trillion already, of money we don't have to fight a war that nobody wanted, and to go use the Ukrainians as cannon fodder against the Russian Federation invasion. And they want to do it year after year after year after year, when your business is going under and you can't afford health care and you can't pay your bills and your wages aren't going up, and Biden inflation and high energy costs are wrecking you and your family's financial and personal futures. Oh yeah, that's their game, huh? That's their game. Viva la Ukraine! Ukrainia! Yeah. I'm sure everybody sings the Ukrainian anthem, every American citizen, when they wake up in the morning. I doubt it. But it's useful to take all your taxpayer money for these useless, destructive proxy wars. Go get a job so you can go bomb Russians. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. So it's not. It's not. I know there's all these videos that talk about a civil war in the United States. It's not a direct civil war. It's a war between the haves and the have-nots. It's a war between the regular American people and our masters of the universe, the elites, the bi-coastal elites. That's the real civil war in America. So the war isn't just between the intelligence services and the federal government and the people and the Democrat Party and the American people, but it's between the elites and the American people. So is the Civil War turning violent? I mean, in some aspects, but it's not a fully organized, weaponized civil war like they depict in the Hollywood movies and in the nightmare scenarios online on conspiracy channels and so on, and speculative channels, or even Dr. Phil, who is considered, I suppose, mainstream in a lot of ways, but he does Civil War material too. And so if there was a civil war, it would be between the normal people getting screwed financially and personally in their blood and treasure, and the elites laughing all the way to the bank. So it'd be more like millions of people storming, Eldon Terrell's super mansion and Blade Runner. It would be like that. It would be like Roy Batty and a team of people going into Zucker Smuck's compound and wrecking house. A civil war would look something like that. It would just be like poor people with pitchforks with fires infiltrating somebody who's wealthy beyond their means and taking inflicting damage upon that person or that organization. That's what the Civil War would actually look like. It would just be like it would just be like there will be blood. It would just it would just be the guy who has the billions and trillions of dollars, and then it would be against everybody else. That's what the Civil War in America would look like, at least in the 21st century version. It would be people storming the Bastille in the French Revolution. So it would be a sacking of elite and rich, wealthy people. And it would be violent, and it would be bloody, and it's going to be unpleasant if something like that ever happens. But that's the kind of American Civil War. If you're talking about that's the form it would look like. Okay. A modern Civil War would take the form of John and Sarah Connor attacking Cyberdyne systems. Taking out the big tech companies. That's what the 21st century Civil War would look like. John and Sarah Connor, going into the Cyberdyne and blowing up the robots and the AI and the simulated computer brain or something. It would be attacking the elites in Silicon Valley. It would be like Occupy Wall Street. It would be, the Civil War won't be black versus white. It's not going to be Mexicans versus white people. It's not going to be. It could be a little racial. If there's too many illegal aliens, if there's like Venezuelan drug gangs and MS-13. There's going to be racial violence for sure. But that's not the thrust of an American Civil War. That's not. It's not going to really be red versus blue. It's not. It's going to be the haves versus the have-nots. That would be the main gist of an internal conflict in the United States, as we've already seen playing out already. So the guy's going to be like Eldon Terrell and do Android Stream of Electric Sheep, Blade Runner. And he's going to be wealthy and he's going to build the robots and he's going to be super rich. And then everybody else is going to be a peasant or broke or in destitution. And then these people are going to rise up like Metropolis and they're going to gouge the guy's eyes out. That's really what's going to happen. Not, I'm just speculating, but that's what it's probably going to look like. All right, let's get those hash browns. Did I make too many for the brunch? Baby. Brunch, baby. Ooh. All right, then we need some, I'm going to go on to the next phase, which is, dun, dun, dun. So I was telling you what the Civil War was probably going to look like. Yeah, sure. It might be. It might be racial if there's racial crime elements like gangs and so forth. If there's race riots, the likelihood that Democrats and Republicans are going to be armed fighting each other, conservatives versus communists, I mean, you know, if things became that extreme, perhaps, but it's going to be between rich and poor people. The main class is the main sticking point in society, not any other difference. In case you were wondering, we were out of chives. So the Republican strategy is to hammer Kamala Harris on the border. Are they doing racial attacks against Kamala Harris? I guess the only one is what it's, you know, they're trying to they're trying to like compare who she identifies with racially, and I don't know if it's too wise to do that too much. A lot of Republicans and conservatives warn against it, but if they do have, right, I don't care if ABC Dishonesty News complains about it, they say it's racist, but if they do have Kamala saying, I'm an Indian woman, and then they have another tape of her saying, I'm an African American woman, and they compare those two from, you know, then and now, compare and contrast, then that's a very interesting strategy by the Republicans. Because it's like, hey, look, she's a flip-flopper. She's chameleon-y. She's a Kamala Elion. Or whatever. She's a chameleon. And so it would be like me, so since I'm Cherokee Native, part Cherokee Native American, old school American, Native American, Cherokee Indian tribe, and Irish and English, it would be like me going to England and saying, if I'm running for office, cheerio, get a spot of tea ready for me. I'm an Englishman. And then, you know, then I go to Ireland and I'm like, whatever the Irish do, you know. So I'm like, oh, hey, I'm Irish now because I need Irish votes. Because, you know, my family history is Irish. And then I go to Oklahoma with a on an Indian reservation and go, ay, 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 and put on face paint, right? It would be kind of ridiculous. It'd be ridiculous, right? Like changing my affiliation and accent and culture just based on, you know, the genetic heritage of my family, of myself. So, you know, to win an election. Like I need Irish votes, so I'm going to pretend I'm Irish. I'm going to drink a Guinness and listen to U2 music or whatever. And I want English people to vote for me. Then I listen to Oasis and I put on the Union Jack. And, all right, I have Earl Grey tea. And then I want to get the Native American vote. And then so I go to the reservation. I go, to the ancient American people, and I put on a headdress and I put on the paint. It would just be fucking ridiculous. So now it might be fun to go to a Cherokee Indian reservation and put on some paint and hear some ancient stories. I'm not saying it wouldn't be fun to put on some face paint and dance around in the fire. I'm not saying it wouldn't be a blast. Oh, definitely with Irish heritage, it'd be fun to slam 20 Guinnesses and be shit-faced and be listening to colorful Irish music and dancing on a table all night until you pass out butt naked. But oh, it would be a hoot. It would be a fun deal. It would be a. So what we do is chop up the sausage, get it into more constituent parts, as they would say in atomic science. Break up the atom into its constituent parts. I like that, the constituent parts. So the strategy is by the Democrats, Kamala brings you freedom and diversity and inclusion and equity and brings you communism, socialism. And Trump brings you freedom and liberty that's true and not in a communist, socialist, totalitarian, authoritarian form. He brings you true liberty, true choice, not faux, not fake. So, got that chopped up. Ooh, yeah. Got that, ooh. Dun, 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 dun. Let's do that. I got the dishwasher unloaded. Then I'm going to have some food. Then I'm going to clean up the kitchen. Then I might actually, we've hit the dreaded August. We've been fortunate. We've had hurricanes. We've had rain all the way in May. We've had floods. We've had lots of drought busters. It's been a wonderful summer so far. But we finally hit it. We finally hit the dreaded 10-day, 98-degree streak that I feared the entire summer would happen, but it happened a lot later. So the ABC, Disney, dishonesty news and the global cabal, because they want to get rich off green energy scams, are telling the American people, you know, oh, the global warming, climate change is coming. Oh, God. And they were having trouble because they couldn't go down to Texas this year and give their scam lie, because it wasn't brutally hot yet. It was, I mean, we had 95-degree days, but there was lots of cool rain and there was hurricanes and there was tropical systems. So they couldn't really go with their climate change hoax scam. And so they would say like this part of the country, it's on fire, the climate change, oh no, the end of the world. And then they were like, Texas,
Yeah, it's hot, but it's cool. It's raining. So hold on. Let's go to the Midwest. Ooh, the climate change. Ooh, it's coming. It's coming. And then they're like the Northeast. Oh, it's on fire. Oh, and it's too hot. Sweltering temperatures. Millions of people under the climate change. And then they were like, oh, Texas. Oh, well, what are we gonna do about that? Well, it's cool. Yeah, it's raining a lot. What do we do about how do we add Texas into the climate change sham mix so we can have the elites make money off of Chinese communist wind turbines and electric vehicle components? How can we get dirty, filthy rich off of solar panels and shit like this? And so they're like, damn, it was raining and cool for a few months in Texas. Shit. Well, maybe now they could include Texas, maybe for the next 10 days. Maybe. If it doesn't rain and spoil their agenda, spoil their plans, would the Democrat Party and the global cabal love to have a world in which all their plans perfectly worked out all the time? Can you imagine that? People probably thought if they got enough control, if they got enough money, if they got enough power, that they'd be able to control every dynamic of American and world society. But they're still under the umbrella of chaos. They're still under, they still can't control every single thing. That must really keep them up at night. It must drive them wild, realizing they're not in control, the masters of the universe. That must really burn their ass. It's like Joe Biden wakes up in cold sweats for years. I mean, in the middle of the night. I don't control the Supreme Court. I don't control the U.S. House of Representatives. I don't decide. I can't make abortion. I can't make Roe versus Wade a constitutional amendment. And then he just wakes up in the middle of the night with a nightmare. I don't control everything. I'm not the supreme commander of everything. I'm not a god, in fact. I'm just a stinky, hairy old man. I'm just a stinky gorilla monkey. I'm just a hairy, pathetic old man. That's all really I am. And he just has to go back to sleep after that, realizing he's not really in charge. He's in charge of something, on paper, but not really. Must burn their butts, don't you think? Ooh. So, Donald John Trump promises true liberty and freedom for American citizens. And Kamala Harris and the Democrat Party promise authoritarian, communist, socialist slavery for the American people. So I would hope that the choice would be clear. I know who I'm voting for in November, and see you at the ballot box. Donald John Trump, 4 more in 2024. Make America great again. Will we be able to thwart the establishment and the system's wishes again, like in 2016? God, I certainly hope so. So hopefully the 75 million people that voted for Trump last time will swell to 80 million or so, and we'll take back our country for me and you. This land is our land. This land was made for you and me. The America by, for, and we the people. Yeah. away from these special interests in this military, industrial, pharmaceutical, technological, media state propaganda complex elite, which has hijacked our nation from us and hijacked our liberties and have tried to take away our rights slowly over time. We must get rid of and reform this system from within that has attacked us and continues to attack us from within. So we must purge it from American society permanently, dissolve it. And so, no wonder they're going after Trump so viciously. They know he's going to begin to make America great again, along with all of us. So that has been frightening the shit out of them for years. A populist American uprising that wants freedom, liberty, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and justice, and secure borders, and real freedom, real liberty for American citizens again. Something we haven't felt in years. Something because we've been under the thumb of the masters of the universe for too long. And we're rebelling and resisting and saying, nope, no more. We're going to live our lives for us. We're going to take back America for us. So God bless, best of success. MAGA, make America great again. Yeah, Trump, Vance, 2024. Peace.